This episode is like The Deadly Dust in that it's a two-parter, but later it was combined into one long TV movie, and that's all I could find. So I'm guessing where the split point is, again. We begin in Hong Kong, where we watch a certain gentleman buy a ticket at the airport. Another gentleman seems unusually interested in the first gentleman's movements. We follow the second gentleman to a private estate outside of town where he's reporting to another. Okay, I'm not sure I can call this guy a gentleman.
I only hesitated bringing it to you, Mr. Zyder, because it's not one of a kind.
I told you I'm not interested in replicas, however cleverly they're done.
Good Lord, it's not a replica, Mr. Zyder. What I meant was that there's a companion piece to this one, which is owned by the royal family.
Of what country?
Why, of England, of course.
Of course. Willie! Maureen?
Definitely not a gentleman. He's a stereotype. Rich guy with delusions of grandeur, as that portrait makes abundantly clear. Looking at that outfit, I wonder when he's going to start making trouble for Iron Man. Our mystery gentleman reports something to the head flunky, I guess.
Min Lo Chan has just left for New York.
New York? Are you positive?
I'm positive. My man just saw him get on the plane.
How could they let him leave the mainland with those charges against him?
Supposedly, there's a witness in New York that can prove that Min is innocent.
Our Mandarin wannabe can't have that.
If he's found innocent by that People's Court, then he'll award the contract for the construction of the steel mill in Shantung to the Canadians. However, if he's found guilty, or if he never leaves New York, then his assistant will take over, and my company is certain to get that contract. It's a $1 billion contract, Mr. Evans.
And we all know $1 billion is worth more than a man's life. Undoubtedly not a gentleman. The first gentleman is meeting an old friend who, no matter how much he tries to hide it, is also a gentleman. And take heart, friends. I'll stop doing that.
I just can't get over it.
What is that, Jonah?
Well, we're the same age, but who would ever guess that? Nobody, that's who.
You look very distinguished, my friend.
Oh, distinguished, yes. But I can't get over how much younger you look.
Welcome to the wonderful world of genetics, Jonah. Some of us just get better ones than others. I'm 71, but while we were in Catalina, one person guessed me as 57. I'll take it. The young lady is Min's niece, Emily. Rita will show her around while the two same-age guys talk.
May I impose on our friendship?
Anything you want, just ask for it.
It's a large favor, and it's for me personally.
Min, as I've gotten older, I've gotten to be quite a grump. And if there's anything I lose patience with, it's beating around the bush.
As often as I get annoyed with characters who find it impossible to just come out and say something, I can't blame Jonah.
Back in 1946, before I came to this country, I was an agent for the Chinese army.
You were a spy?
One day, when we were in the region north of Peking, this man came to me with the news that the U.S. Marine station in Qingdao would like to meet with me.
You may have noticed that he pronounced it Peking. That was the common transliteration until around 1979, when the Chinese government started encouraging the use of a different system called pinyin. In that system, it comes out Beijing. The New York Times started using it in 1986, and everybody else eventually followed suit. The truth is, neither is accurate because not only does Chinese include some consonants that our Western mouths never learned how to make, it's an intoned language. That means it makes a difference whether the tone of your voice is rising, falling, or staying the same. If the tone goes up, it can be a whole different word than if the tone goes down. Picture the average American who just likes to tailgate at the ball game trying to learn how to do that. In the show, it's 1979, so the change is only just beginning to become an idea on the move. That first man was a teacher with a good reputation, so men agreed to meet these guys. These Marines wanted him to sell them information about troop and armor movements. They offered him $10,000, or a little less than $200,000 in today's equivalent. He refused, went home, and that was that.
Until a few months ago. Jonah, can you help me find those 3 Marines?
You're still beating around the bush, Mr. Min.
Well, 1946, that was a long time ago, but I guess if I contact some of my friends at the State Department.
No, your government must not know about this.
But men, if I check the
I
State...
can't take the risk, Jonah. There are people in your government who would like to see me convicted of the charges that will be brought against me.
Mr. Zyder, whom we already met, is working behind the scenes to convince the government that Min took that bribe and sold the information. Shortly after their meeting, the school teacher was murdered. They'll try to pin that on him, too. The 3 guys he met with are the only ones who can clear his name.
Peter Parker did a feature story about a Marine officer a few weeks ago. Maybe he's got an in. Get me Peter Parker.
It seems to me this didn't come out of the woodwork until that big building project was announced. Even if Min can't make that connection, I would hope Jonah could.
Major Collings? Peter, how are you? Just great. Listen, I need your help, unofficially. Okay. Now, this could save a man's career, maybe even his life. I need to know the names and whereabouts of those 3 Marines.
That's the only clue in this picture?
Shouldn't be a problem. You're Sam Malone. Somebody at the bar is bound to know one of these guys. Wait, he won't have the bar for another 3 years. Well, I guess he'll have to do it the hard way.
No, I know that they were all in North China together. They were in Tsingtao, China, in September of 1946. Their mission was to buy secret military information about Mao's army.
Well, that's better.
And it has to stay on the down low, strictly between us. The major says, well, you were fair to me in that article, so okay. He should have something by tomorrow. It's amazing how far you can go in life just by saying nice things about people. Evans is in New York and he's hired himself a few assassins. There's one now. He's not a very good one because he still hasn't learned that you can't put a silencer on a revolver. He will anyway because Hollywood gun stuff. Good thing Min is with someone who has a spider sense.
It seems strange being here in this morgue, as you call it. Trying to find 3 men who, for all I know, may be dead.
Okay. Faber. Morphine.
He excuses himself while Min starts perusing the files. Before the digital age, if you needed information from a newspaper, this was how you got it. Someone was paid to file all the back issues and catalog and index their stories so someone could do what Peter and Min are doing right now. I hear some kids today ask, how did you get along doing that? The answer is very simple. Nobody knew different. It was how it was. I spent several years working in libraries with card catalogs, and some of my jobs involved updating and correcting cards. The first time I got onto a computer where I could do that was when I worked at the University of Denver. 5 minutes into my training, I heard myself exclaim, "Man, this is fun!" I'll tell you, being part of the linchpin generation that underwent the transition from the analog age to the digital age gives you a unique perspective on both. The digital age hasn't hit the Spider-Man universe yet, so they're doing it the only way anybody knows how. You realize Jonah is probably going to make Peter Parker clean that up. Spider-Man chases the man through the press rooms and past all the machinery that you see in montages from old movies. We have yet another new cop, this time played by Myron Healy. He's an old friend of the channel, but he doesn't have anything to do this time around since nobody wants to tell him anything substantial.
Well, if Spider-Man shows up, tell him I need him as a material witness. Otherwise, I can only book the guy for possession of a deadly weapon, and I can hardly hold him very long on a charge like that.
Could you tack on a little more for the fact that he had an illegal silencer? And maybe a couple of weeks on top of that for being too stupid to know how to use it? Rita says a full spread with pictures is ready to go to press.
Kill the story.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me. I said kill the story about the gunman stalking through the morgue while Min was here. And I don't want anybody talking about it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jonah.
You're welcome. And that goes for you too, Parker.
Peter tries to argue, but Jonah sets his foot down. This never happened. The less attention drawn to Min, the better. It'd serve him right if Spider-Man did show up to testify. Min decides he'd better just stay home, which at the moment is Emily's apartment. Peter promises to bring any information he finds to them.
So, you've got nothing to tell me, huh?
Well, where shall I begin? I was born of average parents in a small hamlet nestled in the Pocono Mountains.
Peter.
It was all woods and green, forests and streams. There was wild corn. It was Indian country, you see. And there were signs all over the place of this...
The robbery or the shooting or whatever it was that happened in the Bugle press room yesterday. I heard all about it from Lieutenant Olson.
Jonah forgot to tell him it never happened. The lieutenant probably wouldn't have believed him anyway. The guy in the cell is kind of a giveaway.
Yeah, well, we killed that story.
I know. Why?
To save a man's life, Julie.
What man?
Just skip it, okay?
Yeah, well, level with me and I might.
Look, I just don't think it would be safe for you to know about this.
You're sounding ridiculously melodramatic, and I'm sick of you protecting me, Peter.
Well, some ladies like to be protected.
Oh. Well, tell me the truth. Then let me decide if I want to be protected or not.
She's got him there. At the same time, he's protecting more than just her. He already mentioned that a man's life is at stake.
We've been through a lot together.
Yeah, I know.
Have I ever let you down? I mean, have I ever breached a confidence? If you've told me to lay off a story and I've agreed to, have I ever gone back on my word?
Let me help you, Peter. The word you're searching for is checkmate.
I don't know, Uncle. Perhaps you're putting too much trust in Mr. Jameson and his people.
One can only trust whom one trusts.
Now, Uncle, you're getting very Chinese on me.
You expected him to get Scandinavian?
Very well, my American niece. Whom do you trust?
My family. You, of course. And no one else.
Since 1970, Rosalind Chow has had one of the sweetest smiles on the screen. Viewers especially loved her as Keiko O'Brien on Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. If you did the math, that means she had only been doing this for about 9 years when she appeared here, but she had firmly established herself as a character actor. As I like to say, given the chance, genuine talent will show itself and be recognized. Peter just arrived. So did Evans and 2 other guys.
Well, I got information on each of the 3 men. Now, it's not very up to date, but at least it's a start.
Very good. Emily, Peter will surely have some tea.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Uncle, were you expecting someone?
Will you please pour the young man a cup of tea?
I think the tea is going to have to wait.
All right, honey. Kiss your uncle goodbye. Get everybody out of here but the old man. Get him!
Peter just made a mistake. By the time they figure out that he jumped out the window, Spider-Man is back up the wall and in the window. There's something we haven't seen before. He missed. Evans will scram and leave the others on their own. Min doesn't look too well. In fact, he's having a heart attack.
Emily, what happened to your uncle?
You can see.
What, did he have a heart attack?
Leave me alone.
But Emily,
He's an old man who left us. You ran away.
No, I ran to get the police,
away.
Emily.
Just
I
go away.
realize how upset you are, but
Give her a break.
I told him he was making a mistake. He needs to learn when to put on the costume and when to just act like the good citizen who puts himself between his friends and danger. He could have handled those guys and made it look like he spent a little time at the gym. Instead, Emily thinks he's a coward and wants nothing to do with him. It's cut him to the core, and there's nothing he can do about it without telling her the truth. Speaking of which, Evans's latest encounter with Spider-Man didn't go over well with Mr. Zyder. The boss says, find those 3 Marines before Min does and pay them whatever it takes to buy their silence. And get rid of Min and the photographer guy.
You get in that hospital ward and figure out the best time to hit the old man. Bertino, you and I have got to go and arrange to buy some confidential computer records. Then I want you to wipe out that photographer. His name is Peter Parker.
While Peter was beating himself up, Rita took one of the 3 Marines and Julie took another. That leaves Peter with one Jonathan Fleming, except he doesn't go by that name anymore. Bertina was following Peter on foot now, whereupon Peter's spider sense warns him about it.
Professor Dent? Hi, I'm Peter Parker. I'm a graduate student in physics, but I took one of your courses in Far East history.
Yes.
Well, if you have a couple of minutes, I'd like to talk to you.
Well, I have a dental appointment. Have to be brief, I'm afraid.
Well, thank you. You know...
Remember what Jonah said about beating around the bush? Peter's doing a masterful job of it right now.
Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Problem is, I just don't know how to say it.
Well, perhaps some other time.
It's about Minlo Chan, the Chinese gentleman you were with in North China in 1946. And you were in the Marines, and your name was Jonathan Fleming, which is your real
Mr.
name now.
Parker.
I'm not trying to invade your privacy,
You
sir.
already have.
It is very important. Please let me explain.
I'm just going to pretend we never had this conversation.
Next time, beat a little more gently. There's still the matter of that guy following him. They're back in their cars. Peter suddenly whips into a parking garage. What? It's a parking garage. He parked. See? He proved that other people can park too. Slowly and with the greatest of stealth, the mighty predator stalks his prey. With the skill of a cat and the senses of a spider, he will have his meal. his surprise, Bertino is begging to be let go.
I can't afford another felony.
Is that a fact?
I meant it. They get me on another rap with a gun and I'm gone forever.
You work for the guy who tried to kill the Chinese minister, right? When are they going to try to kill him again?
Ask me something else, anything else. They're gonna get him in the hospital tomorrow night.
He won't give up names because he knows these people can reach him and do away with him no matter where he is. Well, what about the 3 Marines?
2 guys are gonna pick up some microfilm in the Brooklyn Subway Museum tomorrow at 4:30. The microfilm will tell my boss where to find the Marines.
Okay. I'll tell the police you were very cooperative.
I think he was hoping for a little more than that. If he had coughed up some names, he might have gotten it.
Emily, I think we ought
I don't care what you think. Even though my uncle agreed to it, I will not permit it.
Well, the doctor said that it was okay to move him.
It's too dangerous. He's had a bad attack. I don't want him to die.
Look, I am telling you,
Excuse me, folks.
That's Evans's other man. I'd watch what you say.
They are planning to try to kill him here tomorrow night.
How do you know that?
From Spider-Man.
Spider-Man told you.
Yes, we're friends.
It's true, they are.
The Bugle's gotten lots of stories and photographs just because of Peter's relationship with Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man saved your uncle twice. How do you think he knew to be there? She agrees to the plan.
And it's settled. The Bugle can print the story of Min's death on the front page of tomorrow's afternoon edition.
And so will the Register.
Believe me, it's the best way to keep him alive.
Then early tomorrow, the doctor will move him into surgery. And from surgery, we'll have him transferred into a private hospital. Is that okay?
They head back into the room, and it appears that the fake orderly didn't actually hear that. He was scoping the place out for how to kill Min tomorrow night. Min only wants one thing: for Emily and Peter to trust each other and help each other find the Marines. Emily protests, but she can't tell him no. She's too nice. Peter hopes to win her confidence back, but he can't do that yet. He has a train to catch. My mistake. They had a train to catch. He had a roll of microfilm to catch. Lucky for him, these bad guys love those little snub-nosed toys, and he made it even less accurate with a silencer, so the bullet just grazed his arm. The train is starting up, so they decide to let it finish him off and then go collect the microfilm. Guess what, boys? No blood, no squashed spider, and no microfilm. Mr. Evans isn't gonna like it, Yogi.
Hi, Herman.
Hi, Mr. Parker. How are you?
I'm all right. Could I have a hot dog, please?
Coming right up.
This afternoon's late edition. This evening's early edition.
Okay.
Of the 3 Marines, Rita's guy has been dead for 3 years. Julie's is in intensive care and won't be available to talk even by phone for at least 3 weeks. That leaves the professor. Meanwhile, Evans is celebrating.
I'm going back to Hong Kong a hero, that's what. Min Lo Chan is dead. I'm taking a plane tomorrow night. While I'm gone, you guys tail that newspaper photographer just to make sure there's nothing funny going on.
I'm making a wild guess and stopping there. Now I'm torn 3 ways for Peter, because while I really think he should try to marry Rita, Julie is a good match too. And now I want him to take a look at Emily. Oh, what a dilemma. The good news is, it's much easier to do this when it's a fictional character's life you're monkeying with. The major says someone could do making us. I told you. He proved to the Marines wanted to sell them information. Wanted him to sell them. Crap. I can do this. No thanks to you.